Hello there, welcome back to Simon Shed. It's time for another Severn Valley Railway layout update, which is my Engage version of part of the Severn Valley Railway. And yes, you may now have seen, it's out there. Bodenham Woods is no longer up there, it's down here, and I've started dismantling it so that yeah, I can crack on with some more progress on the new layout. So coming up, painting the river base, short circuit problems, riverbank scenery, and pouring the realistic water. So yes, we'll take a look at what I've been doing, but yeah, thanks for the support in the last video, the final update for Bodenham Woods. It was a difficult decision, and it was always going to be difficult to please everybody, but you seem to understand that it was time for it to go and it just wasn't being used, so that's all good, and we can now move on with the new layout. Speaking of which, let's take a look. So what's next? Well, I've since last time I've had a first pass at blending in the riverbanks again. That's mostly successful. I'm putting the static grass over the top of the papier-mâché. Apart from here where it looks a little bit rubbish, but I'll have another go at that. That's where the sort of shaper sheet and plaster mixed up is easier to sort of blend in and hide the joins, but we can sort that. So yeah, blended the edges in, and had 2 attempts at getting a river base. What I did was, on this little test piece, you can see I've been messing about with different colours, and there is actually some bits of realistic water on there, but it's mostly been painted over with other attempts at different colours for the sort of river water. So I've been playing about with that, and I've come up with a sort of way of guaranteeing I get the same colour each time, which is a set of scales, and mix up sort of 15 grams of brown paint, about 35 of green, and a little bit of black. A couple of drops of that gets me the right colour. So I was happy with the colour. However, after the first coat I noticed it's starting to crack and a little bit peeled off. I am just using cheap sort of school paint, so I don't know whether it's the surface of this board or what, but it just wasn't sticking properly. So for this third attempt, what I've done is mixed up some water and PVA and painted that all over, and hopefully that'll give a nice stickier surface for the paint to adhere to. After that, we can start putting in more trees and bushes and try and make this look more like the actual bridge at Arley. Right, we have a couple of problems. It's always the way. You just get going again and get enthusiastic, and you end up taking 2 steps backwards. So first of all, and not really the main problem, I've been experimenting with this. The colour doesn't look entirely consistent, it's quite patchy, but actually I think once you put the realistic water on, it seems to even it out nicely. That's just a little test piece. Obviously the realistic water there, and you can't really see the patchiness of the colours. However, it's all cracking and peeling off, so it's kind of useless really. I'm going to have to get some better paint and start all over again really. Just have to try and scratch off, I mean it's coming off pretty easily, scratch off what I can and start again. But that's not the main problem. The main problem is I just tried to have a quick do a quick running video. Oliver wanted to play with the train, so I said he could, and well, as you can see by the red flashing light, the Z21's not happy because there's a short circuit somewhere. So Oliver couldn't play trains, and I can't film any running videos at all. And I've spent so far 2.5 hours checking. First of all, I've taken everything off the track and ruled that out, so there's nothing on the track at all. Hoovered the whole thing off just in case there was any little bits of stray track metal when I've been cutting track. Still nothing. Checked the whole bus wire underneath, and I couldn't see anything obvious, and then started disconnecting every single point motor just to make sure nothing's gone wrong there. So yeah, I'm a bit stumped. I mean, I'm not sure what to do next, really. It's quite warm today, so it's possible the track's moved about a bit and something's gone wrong. Yeah, I've tried disconnecting it down here. There's two sort of main spurs that it goes on. So this one is completely disconnected, but it makes no difference at all because essentially all of the electricity is joined at the top by the track anyway, so I can't isolate anything. So it looks like I'm going to have to start cutting the wiring underneath into little sections and cutting the track up to isolate bits of track. How annoying. Oh well. Right, I think I've sussed it. I mentioned the heat. I mean, it's, 20 degrees. It's not exactly blazing hot, and it's all worked fine before. But whenever I reset the Z21 and it tripped out again, there was a tiny little buzzing sound coming from somewhere around here. So I've sort of followed that and noticed that now, if you remember, when you're doing DCC wiring, certainly the way I've done it, there's power here and there's power here. These are always permanently connected with metal joiners, but you put plastic insulating joiners on the V, so this should not be touching this, because if we connect power to here, this can be switch polarity, the frog, which obviously if it's connecting to both of these, that's not going to work, because when it switches over one way, it'll be the wrong polarity for one side, and then when it switches back, it'll be the wrong for the other, and it'll cause a short. So let's go to the Z21, and you can see we reset it and it soon shorts out again. However, you put a bit of plastic there, so that point is completely disconnected in terms of the rails. Ta-da! The short is gone, and what that means, I think, is I mean, it looks like there's a gap there, but possibly this one is touching. So the next stage is to rip up this track and see if that theory is correct. So I've just been quite brutal and just ripped this up with some force, because I'm getting to the end of my tether with it. I hate electrical problems. So there we go. So we've not got the plastic here anymore, so it must have been this rail touching this rail. So it should be a simple fix. Just got to snip a bit extra off that track and glue it all back down. And relax, we're all fixed. No short circuits. And trains running across that point again. Just need to put a dab of glue under the track and get it fixed back down. Just 3 hours wasted, but never mind. It's all working again now. That's the main thing. So after all that, I decided to crack on and painted. I bought some paint from B&Q, some decent quality emulsion, and it was called Crocodile, the colour, and that was the green colour. I bought some brown as well, and mixed many variations, and painted it layer after layer, and eventually just decided I got to a stage where I was happy enough with it, so I thought I'd go for it. Can always paint over it later, so I decided to actually just go ahead and pour the whole bottle of realistic water on and see what it looked like. So yeah, short circuit fixed. I do think, you know, I could easily have just put some plinky plonky music on and just said, here's what I did. I just painted the base of this river and poured the water on. But I do think it's important to show the problems as well as the good bits, just so you get a realistic idea of what it's like and what the challenges are in building a layout like this. So here you can see the realistic water, woodland scenics going on, and it does come dangerously close to the camera at one point. I managed to grab the camera just in time. Already you can start to see the effect of the reflections, and it's looking good. So yeah, at some stage I may paint over this and do it again, but for now I'm pretty happy with it. There's the realistic water about to touch the camera. So that's immediately after it was poured. You can see it's all cloudy, but you can see a nice reflection there of the of Victoria Bridge. So back on track, and this is where we're at now. We've planted a lot of these trees from the old layout, so that's coming very handy, and bushes all along here. The realistic water has dried. This is 3 days now after I poured it, and it's finally dried. A few little things, I don't know what's gone on there. That's a bit weird, but you can maybe hide that with some bushes or try some more water, because that does feel as though it's above the surface, so I'm not sure what happened there. But overall, I'm really pleased with the effect and the way you can see the reflection of the bridge, especially if you get right down to the surface. I'm really pleased with that. Other couple of quick things. We now have a new piece of sort of fascia there, and I've started doing this bit as well. That just needs slicing off to the right profile. But yeah, I'm pleased with how that water looks. I wasn't going to pour it yet, I was going to leave it, but it was kind of a let's just pour it and see how it looks, and then if that's not the final version, then that's okay, we can just paint over it and do it again. But actually I think it's turned out okay. So next, as I say, there's a few bits that look a bit strange around the edge that need covering up, tidying up, where the water's sort of run over the edge. Thankfully the seals around the edges all held, and we didn't get any realistic water on the floor, which is good, and it seems to have dried really clear. So yeah, the next thing is more scenery, more bushes around the edge, more trees to be planted over from Bodnam. That's one of them there. And once I'm happy with the volume of trees on that side, we can then move over to here and start planting there as well. So I think we'll leave it there for now. I'll crack on with the tree planting, but yeah, I'll see you in the next update. Thanks very much for watching. Please press the like button and subscribe. It really does help to help people find this channel and hopefully get them into this wonderful hobby. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you soon.